9 years to get there, and they're making progress. Okay. This is sort of an interesting chart that I saw a few years ago, and I thought was really interesting. It talks about all the different general energy sources you have: natural gas, total electrical supply, and obviously there's different reasons why we get that, and then petroleum, natural gas, and feedstock. So this basically talks, it's really interesting to me as an engineer. Basically, these are all sources, and this is where the energy ends up going. So anyway, I thought it was fascinating. Again, so Wiley has his idea how he's going to do this. So anyway, and this is 2002, so this is 11 years ago, and things have changed, but this is what they had available at the time. This is the U.S. one, and it's really interesting. It shows, again, all the sources and where it's going. This shows something that the other one does not show, and that is energy loss. Okay, the other chart didn't show that. What this means is that when you put you have a gallon of gas, it has so many BTUs in that. But when you run that through your car, you don't get the same amount of energy out your tires. You have a loss. You have a loss when you burn it in your car, you burn it through the engine, and then all the mechanics are going into your tire and get down the road. You have energy loss. And so all these other purposes, these other instances, you also get out. When you look at coal, look at huge loss. Now some of this is also transmission losses, because you put electricity in the wire, it's going to go, but as it goes along, you get losses in the transmission wires. Okay. This talks about oil, and because we talk about how much oil we have here in California and in the United States, and what we're talking about offshore energy. Well, this little brown thing is United States, and this is the big dog up here, which is the Middle East. So when they talk about our dependency on foreign oil, this is the concern that they have.
This must be an old graph, though.
It's a few years old, and again,
because it is, as you know, it is changing now.
Oh, certainly, it's changing, but I mean, this shows the general trend. Okay, I'm going to talk about the Sacramento Delta, and the reason why is because 25 million Californians get our water from the Delta. Good chunk, 2/3 of our Californians get our water from the Delta. Kern County, we get about 25% of our water from the Delta. Of course, there's controversies over how we're going to use the Delta. Should we put in a peripheral canal? Should we pass water bonds? And that all affects the situation. When you talk about the Delta, it has there's numerous problems that are involved. You've got, obviously, there's a fish population, other environmental issues they're trying to deal with. Some of the problems they have is that many of the cities up in this area dump partially treated sewage into the rivers, and so that doesn't help things. You also have a situation where here you've got the city of Stockton, and Stockton is actually an inland port. They actually have big ships that come in there, and part of the problem you have is when they come out of the salt water into the fresh water, they bring barnacles and all these other types of things, and those little animals are very bad for the fish that we're trying to preserve. And so, in other words, it's just not only the pumping of water to Southern California that affects these fish populations. There's other stressors as well. Okay, the other problem we have is that right through here you have an earthquake fault. This is the Delta. This is viewing sort of from the northeast. This earthquake fault, our geologists friends tell us that there's a 75% chance in the next 30 years of having a magnitude 6.5 earthquake. Now the problem is a lot of this Delta is supported by levees that are well over 100 years old, obviously not built to any modern engineering standards. A lot of them were built with horses and mules and wagons, obviously not even modern earthwork equipment. So what's happened is a lot of these areas here, the soil is very loose, compressible, And some of it's what's called peat, very organic material, and over time it decomposes. And so a lot of these areas, again, what they've done is they put up the levees around the outside, but then the ground is settled. In some cases, you have ground surfaces 20 feet below the adjacent water level. So these levees are critical for support of that. Now what this picture shows of all the blue water here, that is fresh water. Over here in San Francisco Bay, and over here, that red stuff is salt water. Obviously, we can't drink salt water. And the little fish and everybody else in here that wants, in our agriculture that wants to survive here, we can't handle salt water. So we can go ahead to the next one. So after about 6 hours of the earthquake, this is a modeling thing. You can see how the salt is starting to come in here, and that's because all these levees have collapsed. So that's 6 hours. Go ahead. 12 hours, you can see it's continuing in. Go ahead. 1 day. Go ahead. 2 days. So you can see we're really getting hurt here. Go ahead. 3 days. Go ahead. 30 days. Entire delta is filled with salt water. Obviously, we can't drink that. 25 million Californians can't drink that. This will take 2.5 years to repair if we don't do what we need to do to fix that. So that's part of what the water balance is about. It's part of what the peripheral canal is about. There's many other issues with the peripheral canal as far as are we stealing Northern California's water and all those kinds of things. But anyway, this is a serious problem that if we don't take care of it, it's, again, there's a 75% chance it's going to happen the next 30 years. That means every day we're rolling the dice. Maybe not today, roll the dice. Maybe not today, roll the dice. Oops, it's tomorrow. So it's just a matter of time. It's not if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen. Go ahead. Okay, we talked about water in the house. How does it get used? Here's Wiley O'Connor, this idea how you use water. But if you notice up here, half of our water is used up in our bathrooms. So take short showers.
Don't flush.
And clean, yeah. And so again, 33% of our water is watering the lawn. Okay? So we really need to conserve here as much as possible. Don't overwater your lawns. It really ticks me off, especially when I see city meetings and your water's running in the street, and that really bothers me. When we look at the water problems that we have, water doesn't come forever. There's a limited quantity. When we talk about our population increasing, and we have more and more people, because more and more people are going to take more and more, they're taking more and more showers and using the toilet, that's going to be, again, an additional drag on our water resources. My opinion is that water availability may be our ultimate limitation here in California. Okay, it takes 700 gallons of water to make a hamburger. And of that 700 gallons, about 600 is for the meat. Okay? So you have to look at, you have to realize that by all the vegetation you have to have, the watering of the beef, all those things is tremendously more expensive water-wise to produce meat as opposed to the veggie stuff. So I thought it was a very interesting issue. I mean, you eat one hamburger, it's 700 gallons of water. Bottled water is one I am philosophically opposed to bottled water. It's 4,000 times more expensive than tap water. And there is nothing wrong with tap water. And a lot of bottled water producers, they take tap water out of the municipal pipes and put it in a bottle and sell it to you. So, if at all possible, I do not use bottled water. If you do use it, please recycle the bottles. So, go back one more. So that is a trap. So you gotta avoid the trap. Okay. 1 billion people in the world do not have clean drinking water. This is something we take for granted every day. And yet 1 billion people, men, women, children, do not have that. And that's something that, to me, when you talk about